is up, nerds? You're listening / watching the Destiny Nerds podcast. What's up? I'm Bearded Luke.
I'm Havoc.
And we have our first ever guest right now, the ManoDestra777. What is up?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm so glad.
Dude, you look slick. Look at that overlay. Look at that overlay, Luke. Look at that. That looks sleek, man.
It's good overlay.
That's what it looks like when
That's
we
what it looks like. Yeah.
We should have guests more often, Luke. What do you think?
Yeah. How about every week?
I'll get on it.
Sweet. So.
First off, I want to apologize to the fellow nerds on Luke's behalf. We haven't had an episode the last couple of weeks. Obviously, real life always takes priority, so I forgive him for now. But he promised me it's never going to happen again, ever, ever, ever.
Yeah, I apologize.
Especially during the holidays, no matter what, he's going to be here, no matter what.
on Christmas Day, on
Christmas
Hanukkah,
Day, even
on all the days.
Hashtag blame Luke. But yeah, we got a lot on the docket this evening. Mano, dude, again, love that you're here. Glad to have you. You're one of the very few people within the community that I've been following, me personally following, like the last few years, and I've seen your ascendance, so to speak. And enough of me talking about you. I want you to talk about you from like what you do on your YouTube, from your Twitch, to where you started with Destiny, how y'all got started with that, why Destiny, why this game, and just give us a little backstory about you.
Sure. First of all, thanks for the invitation. This is really fun and exciting to be here with you guys. Happy Sunday night to you. So for me, my journey began when I started watching Gathalion. For streaming, at least, I at least started watching Gathalion when he was doing the Crota's End raid. I had started playing Destiny with a bunch of my friends, just as another game. I had played Titanfall and COD. I was very much in that whole area of video games right there at that moment. And I started watching Gathalion, and they said, you can watch the world's first race on twitch.tv/King Gathalion. I was like, what the heck is Twitch? And so I went and checked it out, and I said, this is really cool. This is something like I think I could do this. So I started watching a lot of that, and I started watching other Destiny content creators like Bife, Datto, and things like that. And so I just took the jump and said, you know what, I'm going to try and do this. I originally modeled my stuff after Bife's old stuff. If you can believe it, Bife back in the day did weapon reviews on videos. No kidding you. Like, he didn't do lore. Yeah. He did weapon reviews. And so I think I still remember my first couple of videos. One was about how to or the Fang of Ear-Ute, if you remember that scout rifle from Destiny 1. So it just kind of grew from there. I started doing more YouTube content. I started making weekly reset videos in Destiny 1, which started to be like a thing that people started to gather around. And I didn't have very many followers or subscribers on YouTube, but YouTube started to pick up. And then I started doing Sherpas on Twitch, started doing King's Fall raids and Rise of Iron during Wrath of Machine. And then I kind of took a year off because I decided that I wanted to be in a position where I could stream more often, make content creation more often. And my job at the time was not able to do that. It wasn't a job I was really comfortable with. So I took some time off, got a different job, moved to Minnesota, and which is a little bit closer to where my folks live, and just started getting back after it. Started doing like a lot of more YouTube stuff. Started really focusing on like the stuff that some people might leave behind, is a good way to think of it. Like stuff that, sometimes people who are on the front edge of everything, they sometimes are always like putting that out, and they're always putting out front edge content. At some point, there comes a point where people are looking for stuff, and sometimes with Destiny it gets outdated. So I started putting up Ascendant Challenge videos.
Heck yeah.
That started to blow up. That plus I started to make videos on how to solo during 0 hour, the 0 hour mission, which, that kind of became my thing. Part of the reason why is every single person who put out a video at the time, if you remember when 0 hour first came out, the problem with it is that was when Orpheus rigs were still like fully buffed. You could get your super back instantly, completely, and you just use your tether, go back and forth, wipe the boss. It was easy. Skull of Daira Hamkara Warlocks. Well, what ended up happening is they nerfed all that, and then all of these people were looking for guides, and all the guides were out of date. So I said, let's just keep making this content, and that started to become a thing. So I do a lot of raid Sherpas and helps, but again, like the dungeons, that sort of became my thing in the earlier part of this year, is just helping people get Wish Ender, helping people do Shattered Throne, helping people do the new Prophecy dungeon, do 0 hours, do Whispers. That just seemed to be my thing, and it just kind of grew from there. And it's great because I have a great community, a lot of mods and Sherpas that are fantastic and help out the community. And it's been cool to see a lot of people come around and enjoy Destiny as well. So I think that's kind of like the streaming / Destiny story. They've kind of been combined together. So,
yeah, we were talking pre-stream. Like I've been following Mano. Like, yeah, now that you mentioned Bife do weapon videos, yeah, he did do that. But like now he's lore daddy. So that kind of gets lost in the shuffle. But yeah, he did weapon videos way back when. So yeah, it's crazy to remember that.
Yeah, I remember hearing him the first time I ever heard of Bife. He was on the Guardian Radio or whatever. That's when I heard of him. I was like, who's this guy? Actually, I had no idea what he did. And then I found him doing lore, and here we are.
And small thing. I raided with Bife once. King's Fall. He did a tweet out like looking for people to do King's Fall with. I hit him up. He added me. That's right, flexing. And then we did King's Fall, and I guess I kind of rubbed him the wrong way during it. He says he doesn't remember because I did bring it up to him during Guardian Con, but yeah, it was quite an experience with Bife and But yeah, with Mano's journey, I was watching him, and I was even kidding with him. Like I said before we started the stream, like he's still doing Ascended Challenge videos, people. Like he's still on that grind. Like, but yeah, do you still get like a lot of views doing those challenge videos on your YouTube still, or they kind of dropped a little bit?
And this is something we can discuss, because this is something we were talking about before the show. Is it almost feels like when there's not anything to do in Destiny, people go back, and so people like want to, they want to complete the game. Like they want to go all the way back and get everything done. Yeah. So there's a lot of people who are still looking for Cursebreaker, who are still looking to get their triumphs and things done that are still available because the Dreaming City and the Tangled Shore are still around. And so there's a lot of people who are still looking for that. Surprisingly, I mean, I would say now the views have turned down quite a bit, because most of the people who are going to go for it really, really pushed during the end of Season of Arrivals, like the last 6 weeks of Season of Arrivals, to really, because they wanted to get all the triumphs, Wayfarer, and everything else. Yeah.
Like before Beyond Light dropped, I haven't gone back in the Dreaming City since before Shadowkeep. Like there was no reason to go to do it. So like the fact that you were still like in my inbox, ManoDestra, do video, challenge, like, dude, this guy is still. I mean, he has to be doing it if there's still an audience for it. So like, he wouldn't be doing it just for the sake of doing it. Clearly, so yeah, I commend you for that, man.
That content's some of my favorite. Like, I don't watch a ton of Destiny content like as it comes out. A lot of the stuff is like when I'm looking for, where do I find this thing or that thing, like months and months and months and months from now. And then those are the most important videos, which that's why YouTube is so awesome, because it's not just Destiny. It's like anything you want to find on YouTube is that kind of stuff that lives longer than like, hey, this week's weekly reset, this happened kind of thing.
Yep. But, yeah, because back in D1 for me, like I used to do Zer videos, like when reset was like early in the morning, like 5 a.m. was reset.
Yep.
And I would do a live stream of it, and I would have hundreds, close to thousands of people waiting to see where Zer was at. But now when D2 dropped, I think at the very beginning they pretty much just showed you on the map where he was at.
They just showed you on the map, yeah.
And then they eventually took that away. And now more people, shout out to Zerwatch, they continue, yeah, they're killing it. And then that was my content wise when it came to Destiny. Like I would just stream Destiny, and I would do like some weapon videos sometimes, and little stuff like that, but like nothing like how you are doing it, Mano. Like, good lord.
Well, I guess I always looked at it like, The thing about Destiny is that it's kind of a game where there's a lot of stuff that's very apparent, and then there's a lot of stuff that's not. There's a lot of stuff that like initially it almost feels like, yes, this totally makes sense, and then like later on it doesn't make sense. And just giving people like, because I'm a teacher by day, if you will. And so a lot of times if you just help people figure out where they need to go, what they need to do, I mean, just those things together, it's such an easy thing to do, because the game doesn't tell you where. It's not always linear. It's kind of become more linear now, which I'm not necessarily a fan of. But it definitely had that. Going to make it more linear has made it so that those videos, hey, how do you find this? How do you find this? I mean, it's like the little collectibles now. That's about it.
I didn't even know about the penguin stuff. Like, seriously, I knew nothing about penguin stuff, and people were talking about it on Twitter. I'm like, what the heck are these penguin stuff? And I stumbled upon the little statue on the rope. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is like the bunnies on the moon. So I'm like, all right, so I guess I gotta collect all these, and I'm not one to go after triumphs and stuff. So I'm starting to do that now and be on the lookout if any new penguins show up. So
I want to know this, Mano. Are you one of the ones who I often wonder when I watch these videos, who is the person that finds out that you need to get this thing or get the gun that explodes a piece of ice that then has a penguin? Are you the kind of person that finds that?
No, I mean, like, I'd love to believe that I'm the person. I'm just gonna say it. Like, every single Destiny content creator, I'm telling you right now, they got Reddit postmarked. Like, much love to everybody. But seriously, y'all got Destiny Reddit pulled up. Someone's like, hey, why is this guy here? Everyone goes to him. It was the guy who just like you were talking about. Literally, I remember the post on Reddit. I was working at the time, but I know like the full-time YouTubers were probably looking at it and being like, oh, there's a guy there that's different than usually is. He's got a flamethrower or the flame cannon, right? Scorch cannon. So there's got to be something different. Someone found the penguin.
Something's amiss.
Yep. And I mean, like, everyone's just got Destiny Reddit pulled up. I mean, and I hate to be that person that says it, but everyone's got Destiny raid secrets. Everyone's got Destiny the game pulled up. It's just some random person finds it, then people all kind of look around. But that's one of the cool things about Destiny is the fact that like it's kind of how Whisper was found and 0 Hour was found. It's one person was like, why the heck is there this Taken guy here on Io? And then they killed him, and there's this gate, and what the heck? And then the entire community goes behind it, and it's exciting.
Yep.
So I think those are the best moments.
Oh, they are. They're some of my favorite moments. I just always wonder who is that one guy or gal that's chilling there and is like, oh, look what I found, and then they type it into Reddit.
Yep.
Now, before we segue to the next one, I'm sure the panel here has noticed it, but has anyone else noticed that Osiris is in the tower?
Yes. Yeah, he's chilling there.
He's just chilling there now.
Okay, yeah. So he's
safe.
I didn't know about that. One of my clan members said something to me. I'm like,
you didn't see him?
Well, I didn't see him at first. And that he's just hiding in lurking. He's lurking over by here, Ikora. For those who don't know, he's over in that area, lurking in the shadows. Like, so it has me like wondering, like, there's got to be a reason why he's now in the tower. So for those who don't know, he's over where Ava Levante used to be for the Dawning before they moved her into the main area. He's over hiding in that shadowed area. So like, I didn't think it at first, and I just saw him lurking. So I just wanted to point that out before we get into the meat and potatoes of the conversation, what we were going to discuss last week, but hashtag blame Luke happened. So we're going to talk about it tonight. So day one raid, you guys did it. I want to hear from Luke first, because we actually took a podcast night off for Luke, because I didn't want him, being drained and try to do an episode. So I want to hear from him, the highs, the lows, the pros and cons. Does he, everything?
Yeah.
Luke.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
It's a good thing we didn't have a podcast on that night, because I wasn't as drained as much as I would have just been frustrated. So it was a super fun. So this was my second time doing a day one raid. I did Guardian of Salvation last year just for fun. I didn't even know anyone in the raid team. I only knew one person in the raid team, so it was kind of like a LFG day one is what it felt like. So I didn't expect us to win or get through it. This
Yeah,
one,
that day you looked like death. The first time I
yes,
saw you.
this
24 hours.
one we got through through the storm section to get into the raid, and then we beat the first encounter pretty quickly, and then we were on the second encounter for 10 hours straight. Within that 10-hour period, some of my friends were starting to beat it while I was streaming. So then I was like, oh, we can beat this. Like, I didn't have any expectations of beating it. Like, I just was happy to be there. But then once I got expectations of beating it, like we got to the final boss and I streamed for 18 hours. I think I got till about 6:30 in the morning, and I had to be at work at 7:30. So I had to go to bed. And my team, which I'm pumped for them, I am now. At the time, I was very aggravated because I went to work and then they got some people and then they finished it and all got the emblem. I was super salty about it at first, but I'm really happy for them. That was just like a 18 hours of no sleep Luke, plus the week before grinding Luke was very sad. But honestly, it was a super fun experience again. It's such a cool experience, like seeing, like, I like to watch other people do it while I'm doing it. So I was streaming, but then I also had like people's streams up where I could see where they were at, and then like the team collaboration. And this one's a little different. I felt like, and I don't know, Mano, you could probably answer on this too. I didn't feel like the ads were as powerful this time around. Like, I didn't feel like I was dying constantly. I think that it was more like that second encounter was so, like, the damage gating thing was so weird. We like you have to plan it perfectly or else it would get enraged. Basically, that's what we kept running into. Is it would be like 30 minutes until we got to the final stand, and then we would mess up because we didn't even know it was happening, and that happened for hours and hours and hours. But other than that, super fun. And I've done 3 raids each week on each character, even a couple when I didn't. I've done all my challenges for my triumph. I'm trying to get that seal now. Usually I'm known for getting my raid seals like right before they go away.
Last second Luke.
I like all of the seals. I have every single one of them except Chronicler because stupid whatever I can't remember the name of it. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Sunsetting and taking away all the vaulting, everything. Yeah.
So yes, Mano, what did you think? You got to clear, and it looks like you guys got to clear like right at the end.
So it was a tough raid. Like the second encounter, just because of the design of it, was because of the contest mode, and I think that that's something that Bungie needs to look at, because it's an artificial damage gate. It almost means like leveling means nothing anymore, and that's fine if they're going to do that. I think that that's all right, but a lot of teams were stuck there. I would say that the majority of people, that was the damage gate, and for us, we made it through there, but it took so much time and effort to figure it out that we needed to do so much damage to it. Spartan, who is one of the folks on our team, actually talked about it afterwards, is that if we had realized, like, we should have stopped when the raid was done, or when the day one clear, the first person, the first team won. We should have just gone and gotten the lament, because the lament makes that entire encounter a joke. It makes it a joke. Like, doing it in hindsight, though, it's not that difficult of an encounter in hindsight, but with contest mode on and trying to experience it for the first time, it's definitely one of those things that a lot of teams couldn't like figure out how to do the operator buff, get all the people around, do as much damage as you need to use golden gun. Now a lot of people are tethering the ground, getting a bubble, and like everyone's one phasing it now. But overall, I thought it was a really fun raid. I like the fact that there is the chest that allows you to constantly get rewards. I think that that's a great thing, because the raids have needed that.
Now recording.
Oh, and
Craig
now recording. So I think that was a good thing, and it was definitely a tough raid. I felt bad because a couple of our team members had to step away at the end. And then 3 of us basically said, we're going to stick it out. We're going to go the full 24. I mean, I made that promise to myself. Like I said, I took some time and I wanted to get this clear done. I was going to at least get 24 hours, because I was team number 100. We were the first team, Garden of Salvation. I was with the team, and it was like literally like the 100th clear, the first clear after the day 1 for Garden of Salvation. I said, that's not going to happen to me on this one.
Yes.
So I wanted it. I was like, even if I go the full 24 hours and I don't get it, at least I did 24 hours. And we were lucky to find a couple of guys on LFG to fill some spots. And we did a couple runs and we were able to get it like literally at the last second. But my team was awesome. They were fantastic. They're really smart and they're awesome Sherpas. and really positive folks too. You know, it's one of those things where it's always difficult because there's a lot of like emotions going around, because a lot of times you're like you want to clear it, and you want to get those things done, but at the same time, like, you're hanging out with your friends, and you're like, they're your mods and your Sherpas, and they're hanging out with you, and they're doing a really like difficult thing. So I wish we had stopped and gotten Lament, because I think if we had gotten Lament, we would have flown through that second encounter, because I think we were on that encounter probably for 10 hours. First encounter, I think, was maybe an hour, maybe not even. Yeah. Maybe 45 minutes. Overall, as a raid, I love it. I think it's a fun raid. I like the replayability of it. I don't think it's going to be sustainable for another 3 weeks for the hardcore community. I think that at that point, all the challenges are going to be done. You know, the middle hobbyist community will probably dig into it a little bit more. Everyone gets different weapons and different roles and stuff like that. I think that once that's done, it's going to be tough to see what happens with the raid, because once you're 1260, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Yeah.
100%. That's like the whole issue that I always talk about constantly, is power leveling, or just in general what power or light, whatever anyone wants to call it, means for a PvE and PvP player at that in Destiny. In general, like you said at the beginning, what was the point of us going incredibly hard for 2 weeks to get our power up, whenever, like, the bosses during one of the problems we had during with contest mode is if you got hit twice by those bosses on the second encounter, you just died. Because they were hard,
vicious.
Yes. And my teammates were, I forgot to say, my teammates were they were the smart Sherpa people. Like, I actually didn't understand the mechanics the entire raid. I actually had to be someone explain it to me the next day whenever I finished it. I just killed ads the entire time. Because they were smart. They're like, we got this, we got this, we got this, we got this. And they're like doing their stuff. And I'm just like over here killing stuff over this in that way. But I feel you. This is the kind of thing that's like going to be a really good thing to Sherpa new people through for a long time. I feel like, because it's not super complex, but I already know as soon as I get everything done for it, just like GOS was a little bit longer for me, but this one I can see myself doing for like a couple more months, and then I don't like what else is there to it's not super long. Everything's really one phaseable in it, which is good. We always want that, but then at the same time we don't want that. That's the problem that is never ending, especially on Twitter right now. If you see 2 weeks ago, it was like, this is the most content we've ever had. This is insane. This is insane. Now it's like, oh no, there's nothing to do. That's, like you said, based off of the different kinds of people playing, like the hobbyists compared to the hardcore, compared to like the one person playing once a week.
One thing I don't understand is why, you know, the contest modifier makes it a different raid. It really does. It makes it a completely different encounter. And like, all they need to, and I've been saying this for a year, why don't they just put contest on as a modifier, and then like do something where that's essentially the prestige or the hard mode? Like, it's that difficult of an encounter. Just make it, no matter what your power level is, no matter what your artifact level is, you see swords. Like, being able to offer more rewards, maybe offer more spoils of that you would be able to get from the raid. Offer that, because there's more people who would do that more often, and it would maybe take a little bit more time. I mean, I think that was one thing that really drove Destiny 1 really well, is having a hard mode and then a normal mode, having those two different options for people, so that, you know, if they only wanted certain weapons, you know, I think that's a really good idea.
If you get the hardcore mode, like in D1, you get double the drops.
Yeah, and different weapons that are better. Kind of like like adept weapons from Trials. Like, it's like that, but I remember in King's Fall, it was the pulse rifle, the darker version of it. I wanted that.
Spider Moraine.
Exactly.
Love the Spider Moraine. My favorite.
That was my favorite gun in that game. I'm glad you just reminded me. Obviously, it wasn't exactly my favorite if I couldn't remember the name of it. But the dark version of that with Firefly Outlaw or whatever on it that's what I wanted. And that came from hard mode.
Hung jury, like everyone else did. Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't use that. But, yeah, since you guys did the raid, so did you like how Bungie's starting to do it? Try to get more people a part of it by doing on a Saturday and, you know, at reset to get more people. Do you like it like that? Do you have like about, what was it, like 10 days to get ready, and then boom, that's Saturday, it's like one giant event? Do you like it like that, or do you like it where, all right, new DLC dropped, all right, 4 days later, raid drops? Like, what do you guys prefer, I guess, as now doing the day one raids now compared to doing the other stuff? What was your preference?
I like it. I have long said, and I've said it for a while now, there are three things that drive the Destiny endgame. There are three things that define Destiny: raids, trials, dungeons. That's it. Everything else, nightfalls, all those other things, they're cool and they're good ways to get the other people excited about things. But those are the three things that drive the community. Like those three things just in and of themselves. Iron Banner, I wouldn't even consider Iron Banner. No, like there's a lot of people who are turned off by Iron Banner. I know that's something we're going to talk about a little bit later.
We'll talk about that.
But I am always a proponent of getting more people into raids. And I think that one of the reasons there was some flack about this on Twitter, because, some people said, oh my gosh, so many people got the day one raid emblem. But there were more ways to get to the higher light levels. This time, there was a lot of exploits using the lost sectors, lots of farms and things like that. I think the fact that more people are at home because of COVID, I think that part of that is really huge. I think that the fact that we had 14 months between one raid to another, like everyone is like, we want to do this so much. I'm going to put more time to doing this big thing. I think it's a great thing. I think that it's harder then to kind of establish like the upper echelon group of people, but those folks are always going to go above and beyond. They're going to get their 2-mans, their 3-man flawlesses. Some people are already soloing,
trying to do
which is fantastic. But they're going to do that stuff on their own no matter what. And I think that the more we get more people to do that higher end content, the better it will be. I would like to see it be a little bit more complex, because I will say this raid is more simple in a way. Garden of Salvation, I think day one was probably a little bit more complicated. But still, it's great to see so many people raiding. People are excited, which is awesome.
Luke?
Yeah, I loved it because I'm a full-time filmmaker. I don't know if you probably knew that already, Mano, but I work a lot because I work at a church and I'm a full. So like whenever new Destiny content comes out, I so desperately want to be a part of it when it comes out, because that feeling of just being in there and just grind. I like want to be a full-time streamer. Like that's like a desire that I have. So whenever like I'm allowed to stream during that week, it's so whenever it's like 3 days, I only get to have fun for 3 days before a raid happens. It just feels like it's so fast and I'm not ready. This like whole 2-week or 10-day or whatever process that we had, oh my gosh, it was so nice. I took the whole week off. I got like all my videos edited. I got all my work done. I took off work and I just like gamed. I had my buddy Doc. He's actually probably here listening. He came to my house and we sat his PC up next to me and he gamed, and we were in a fire team together. So basically for the raid, there's 3 of us, me, DC, and Doc. We did every single thing together all the way until the raid, because we were in the raid team. We were trying to synergize. We were trying to really be ready for this raid. And just having all that time to actually like sit down and like consume everything was it was so great. I enjoyed it. I'm sad that it was over. It actually was really exciting, except like it felt like I like came out of some crazy dream after it ended, because I had to go back to like editing and doing normal stuff. And I was like, at the same time as all that happening, we were like showing our house. So one of the days that we were grinding, we had to I'm like, hey guys, we got to leave because someone's looking at the house, and we're gonna come back, and then we're back to grinding. It was nice being able to do that. But you're right. I don't know. I'm usually more like hardcore about things that I could critique with Destiny. This year I've given it so many like less excuses and grace because of the scenario that the world is in right now. It's a little bit different than if they were all at Bungie headquarters just going hard all year. Like, I'm impressed what they did for where they were. Like, I can't imagine building an entire expansion in your house. Yeah. I'm also a big fan of like, a lot of people probably hate me for this, but I don't mind, because I don't have loads of time to play, like the trickle content that comes out throughout a season, like having a little bit of stuff for a long time. That means a lot more to me than it probably does to a hardcore person that like it's just not like there's not enough to grab onto. For me personally, as someone who I only get to play starting at like 11 p.m. and I play till 4 in the morning, and then I don't get any sleep, and then I do it again, and then I it's nice to have like a little bit of extra stuff. But I felt what it would have felt like to be a hardcore player that first 10 days, and I could see exactly where everyone feels that everything that's like happened over the past seasons. I don't know. We were talking before the podcast about like what happens after Lightfall, you know what I mean? And I kind of have that in the back of my head at all times, like, man, is this like, did we already live in the glory times? Like, you don't know what the good times are till they're gone.
It's all downhill from here.
But sorry, that was just a random
Does anyone
rant.
know, before we go into our next thing, I don't know, Bungie or anyone know, is Bungie going to try to do like a world's first for VOG?
I don't know.
Anyone know when that,
I
when that
mean,
drops?
I don't think they will. If they do, it'd be weird because they already did it, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Unless they're adding like redoing
Well,
encounters.
it's going to be different slightly. So like, I don't know if it's going to be, I mean, it's not going to be a simple copy paste job, but
you know how the community is. The community is going to make it a thing. Like there's still going to be like a team that gets it first, and they're going to say they got it first, but maybe they don't get a raid belt. I don't know.
maybe they just get the recognition and whatnot. I was curious about them, and so with that being said, so the raid was completed. I think they completed in 5.5 hours it took them, or was it 6.5? It was
5.5. 5.5.
And then once that happened, bunch of things unlocked, the lament and all that stuff. Which we kind of knew things were going to be unlocked because in the previous, raids, I think since Last Wish, which kicked it off, once the raid was completed, things started to open up in the world. So with that being said, do you like it how they continue to do that? Because I know for a while, like during that week when Beyond Light dropped, there was the hardcore people like repetitive. This is boring. They're burning through the content pretty quick, but some of us knew in the back of our minds, well, just wait until the raid drops. And when the raid dropped, and as soon as it got completed, then things started popping up everywhere. Even to me, it was a little bit overwhelming because I'm seeing all these new things popping up everywhere and doing these hunts and the lament quest and all that stuff. How'd you guys handle all that? Because I know Mano said he wished his crew would have just stopped mid raid once someone completed it to get the lament to jump back in, but they didn't. Like, how'd you guys feel about that, Mano?
So I like the fact that the raids are tied, or at least in some way tied to the real world of the game, the real world of the game. I have a big problem. My favorite raid by far is King's Fall. It is my favorite raid. It is, to me, it's the epitome. Like, to me, if there was a glory day of Destiny, like the King, like taking King, that era was the time, because I don't even think Rise of Iron or any of the other Destiny 2 parts have done it. I think it's important. Like I said, the raids are probably one of the best pieces of content that they do. Yeah. And I find it very strange. I understand why they do it, but I don't agree with it. Like, I don't like the fact that they make the raids like this separate weird thing. Why didn't we have Aramis in the final? Like they keep talking about like Aramis could come back, something could happen. Well, like, why didn't Aramis be the final boss? Why did it have to be Taniks for the 17th time?
That was dumb.
That's been the problem since Destiny 2 dropped, because recent Gaul was going to be the raid boss.
Oh man, that would have been sweet.
They made him like this Bane like Darth Vader like character, taking the light and stuff, and we were like, all right, we got to go against this guy, and he was basically the campaign boss,
right?
And they were like, so you are onto something with that, where that the big bad during the campaign doesn't carry over, like how taking King was. We heard about Oryx, we knew everything about Oryx going into it, we beat him in the campaign, but we really didn't. He went to to his ascendant realm or whatever it is, and he was like, that was it. Like, we knew what we were doing. So like, I don't know why they do that. Like, it bothers me.
But to answer your question, like, I like the fact that they at least unlock stuff outside of the world, like an evolving world. Like, hey, this thing happened. Like, the Deepstone Crypt is here on the planet now, and now Guardians can access it. I would like to see, it would be really cool if that area was like more accessible by normal folks, because I think it's cool to have it so that it's kind of often its own thing, but at the same time, it's cool when it's kind of tied to the real world. like King's Fall opened up with going to the Court of Oryx.
Yep.
I think that was really cool. Last Wish was kind of weird because it was like, you kind of go in the one door and that's it, and then you're done. I mean, I think the King's Fall was the most immersive, the most tied to the actual campaign. They were very much like this, and instead, like, we keep doing these divergent path things. I think it's cool that they unlock all these other story missions and all these other things. I think that's important to do. I think that no matter what, you're never going to satisfy the people who play this game as a job.
Never.
But I think it's incumbent upon people who are going to be content creators, and this has been like a subject that people have been talking about, like, is Destiny 2 sustainable for content creators? I'd say yes and no. If your topics are about, hey, we're going to do damage testing and we're going to blow up these bosses with like weird weapons and we're going to do that sort of stuff, yeah, you're kind of not going to be able to do that because the other raid bosses aren't really around anymore because of sunsetting. But I think that there's a lot of opportunities if people look for them to stretch the content and to figure out new things to do. It's incumbent upon us as content creators to come up with new ideas, like to come up with, hey, what can we do instead? What are some different ideas for videos? And I think that no matter what, if you're streaming for 10 hours a day, it's difficult no matter what. And I don't think any person could make a video game that could much. It's just not possible.
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel exact, and I feel for the PvP people at the same time, because like there's no new maps added this season. They didn't really change anything other than the sandbox, and Trials has been delayed just because of issue. This has been like the due to an issue season. That's been the meme.
Yeah. Season of the disabled.
So like for like a content creator that does PvP, it's got to be difficult right now, right? I mean, I don't do PvP as content, but I was like, so I did like the Unbroken, try to get the Unbroken. That took 3 seasons to do. So like that was part of content that I would stream, where it'd be like another night of Luke throwing his keyboard because he's trying to get to 5,500, or
Those
like
are the fun nights.
People attempting to help me get my flawless seal, because it's like a meme for me in general that I like just have, like, I'm very techie and I know how to do stuff, but like at the same time I have no idea what I'm doing at all times. So people enjoy helping me figure out how to do things, and I can't imagine like an actual hardcore like for you, man, like what is your goals like this season in general? Like where do you see yourself making, like what kind of content do you want to make right now? What kind of content are you making? Kind of content is working, what's not working?
I've got a couple of things up in kind of like being worked on right now, kind of like weapon reviews, but like in a different way. I think part of it too, I hope that we haven't seen everything for Season the Hunt.
Yeah,
because if Season the Hunt is really just plant a thing, kill a boss, and go over and over and over again, that's not a season of content.
No.
I think that's pretty lackluster. I'm hoping that there's some type of evolution that's coming on after the Dawning. Of course, I'm always the eternal optimist, is like they're going to come up with something different. Everyone, I think, right now is looking for Hawkmoon, and a lot of people have found that there's an area in the EDZ that you can go and explore. I, as a content creator, I do very well with dungeons and bringing people through those things. 0 Hour Whisper, Shattered Throne, Prophecy, those were always my jam, and I love that because it's not as manpower heavy as a raid would be. You know, when you do a raid, you got to find 5 other people, you got to find a couple of Sherpas, you got to teach a couple people, pull them from the stream. It does take a lot of time to get those people together. And right now, people are excited about doing it. I think 3 weeks from now, I don't know if there's going to be people constantly doing it like they are now, other than for the spoils. The spoils is kind of the thing that's driving the raid right now, because people are looking to get more rolls on the different weapons and find their god roll, which is cool. I really hope that there's a secret mission or a new dungeon that comes out this season, because that will probably drive my content. Talking about how to defeat that. What's the easiest way to do that? Again, I always try to put things on the level so that most people can do it. There's always a hardcore community that's going to find a way to do it backwards, upside down with a drum set. I shouldn't talk, but I mean, because I did that once. But, but you know, I think that's going to be where my content is. And I think that, again, maybe making it more social, making things in the game that are more social, talk about those things, because I don't know how much is going to evolve on Europa. Europa as a destination is awesome, but I don't know how much more there's going to be. We got to see what the rest of the seasonal content is going to be.
I agree.
Segue. Speaking of seasonal content, Season of the Hunt. So we knew, which it still bothers me that they introduced, hashtag confirmed, Aldrin Sov, aka the Crow, is in this season, and they kind of spoiled his presence in a trailer leading up to it, which I kind of wish they didn't, but they did. How do you feel about Season of the Hunt? Like we were talking off stream. Like, I prefer the lore after you complete. You do your 5 hunts, and then he gives you a lore. He talks to you and stuff like that, and then he has the whole being under Spider, and he's got like a bomb tied to his ghost, and if he goes off kilter, he could kill his ghost like that and stuff. Like, so I like that aspect, but yeah, doing the same hunts, go in there, plant a lure, kill the servitor, and then track it either on the Tangled Shore or the Dreaming City. And I guess people were expecting different bosses, which I think they're still going to get, because according to the triumphs, there's like 4 or 5 triumphs that are still like locked, I guess. According to that, could be wrong, but I could have sworn there's like still hidden triumphs for that. But what do you guys think of the whole Season of the Hunt and the hunts and stuff and all that stuff?
So yeah, I mean, I've just started doing it. Like, this was one of the things that's been like interesting this season, which is it's a good thing, and it can be a bad thing. There's like a million little questified things to do. Like, I think if I go to my quest tabs, there's like 8,000 things. Now, a lot of that's from not just specifically Season of Hunt. It's from the stuff from Varix that you have to do to level up all his little things, which is usually seasonal. But also the stasis things are also like there. And then Season of the Hunt came out, and I hadn't even done any of it because I was still working on, just doing pinnacles and that kind of thing. I just started doing Season of the Hunt stuff like 3 days ago, because I'm trying to get my Warden's Heal all the way ready, so that as soon as the very last thing, because of course they have it time gated, as soon as the very last thing opens up, I can click it off. So far, I'm very underwhelmed. Like Mano was saying before, I mean, there's not really much to it other than you're going and you're hunting a thing and you're leveling up a thing, which then gives you more things.
The whole lure thing, like you put these little I'm still like, I'm just putting things just to put them in there now. I'm like, what? I'm still confused with it.
The cool thing, you can like roll different weapons, and that's cool. That's a cool thing. I mean, the more that they do that, that's what we ask for. We ask hundreds of thousands of times to be able to re-roll stuff so that we can get god rolls, because that's what it's about, right? Loot. But the actual action of it is just, we were trying to do the part where you have all the armor on and you kill bosses. You have to do like 50 of them or something like that. Well, we like found a loophole where if someone has it, you can just, if you don't have the lure that is finished and ready to go, and someone else does, if they don't shoot the boss and you kill the boss, it doesn't count as a kill for them. So then they can just keep reloading it. So you can skip the whole doing Crucible and doing Vanguard and doing all those things over and over and over again. So if it's got me wanting to skip things, it obviously probably isn't super fun. That's how I feel about it so far.
Yeah, I'm very much with you. I guess for me, like, loot's part of it, but if you just have loot and it's not fun to get the loot, then that's bad. If you have something fun to do but there's no loot, then that's bad. You have to have both.
Yes.
You got to have both of those things, I guess I look at it that, like, I mean, that was one of the reasons why the menagerie was actually kind of cool, is because it was kind of fun. You can just bomb around. Like, if you needed to do something harder, you could definitely do that too. But I think that's the problem right now, is that it doesn't feel like there's anything to do in the season. There's I mean, like, what did we have? We had the bunkers. So you went and you did the bunkers. Season of Arrivals was basically built around a public event, but then there were like all these little missions and stuff that you could do. I'd say that this last year, Season of the Dawn was probably the best of all the seasons, to be fair, because at least there was the sundial. The sundial was a cool activity. You could go get different weapons. But I've been very unimpressed by this season, because it's literally like plant flag, kill boss, go get boss, done, do it again, kill boss. Oh, I'm out of lures. Go do strikes.
Go do strike. Yep.
Go do content you've been doing for 4 years. All right, go back.
And like, that's the thing, is they're going to put more if they say they're going to put more emphasis on strikes and Crucible and like in Gambit, why don't we have a new Gambit map? Why don't we have new Crucible maps? Like, I just don't understand that. Like,
All
that's
great
how you
questions.
that's how you invigorate the community, because it's cool, it's a new map, it's something new to do. We haven't had a new map for Gambit in 2 years. And I'm not saying that the Gambit is the be all and end all, because I'm one of the weirdos that actually likes Gambit from time to time. Not
of course
like,
you
don't
do.
build a season around it. Don't build a season around it. But like, it's fun to just like, okay, I gotta get my 3 Pinnacles down. I'll do some Gambit. I'll mix it up. But I'm playing the same maps from 2 years ago. How hard is it to put one more map together on Europa? Like, that's the thing that I don't understand, is how many resources does it really take to make new Crucible maps and to make a new Gambit map? Like, I think that would revitalize people, in a way.
I hate to bring in the word Call of Duty to this conversation, but I mean, if you guys played Call of Duty, the reason we got excited for like new expansions was because they brought new maps. So like in PvP and Destiny, like we're not getting new maps. Like it screws the Scrim community, which is the same as the Sweat community, which is the same as all the people that want something new. Like the PvE people at least get this new big map, and then our old Cosmodrome map that we can go screw around on and not really do anything. But yeah, I feel you. Trust me, I'm with you 100% on that.
And like, I hope that there's something else to it. Like, I really do hope there is something else to it. I think you're right there, Havoc. Like, the fact that they just showed him off in the trailer, why didn't they just like let the spider be like, you're gonna go to the spider this time? And then like, if they would have seen Crow and you would have seen him, like that would have been like, oh my god, like that would have been such a huge moment for the community.
Yep.
And like, people have been like, don't spoil it. And it could have been a really cool opportunity. The other thing is, though, Cyrus is weirdly tied into this expansion, and other than him being in the tower, like you said, Havoc, it doesn't, like, I don't care and I don't feel like it.
It's like we're all waiting, like you said, we're waiting for this, waiting for this, and I think that's what's bothering us in a sense is the waiting for something to pay off. Like, all these things are being placed. Now we're playing the waiting game. When is it going to happen? When's this going to develop? Like, I'm still waiting for the cutscene that we saw in the trailer leading up to Beyond Light of I think it was Zavala and Osiris next to the Red Legion. People were talking about that. Like, why are they next to the Cabal? Like, you saw them in a brief cutscene. We have yet to see that. Like, so like everybody is waiting, and it's frustrating with the current content loop we're in, and constantly waiting for something new, and not something being rehashed or being brought forward, which brings me to the next thing, Iron Banner. And you're mentioning, like, who's hyped for Iron Banner anymore? Yeah,
nobody.
Like, it's a pinnacle thing. I'm gonna do it because it's it's the same thing. You do these 3 or 4 bounties and you get your pinnacle drops. Yeah, I'm gonna do it, but like, it's like, I'm not hyped for it. Like, it's bothersome. Is any like you said, Mano, like, is anybody really excited for that? Like, really?
I mean, like I was saying, no. I mean, we haven't had new Iron Banner armor for 2 years. Like, I will go, like, Bungie, I will come and I will design new Iron Banner armor for you, and I'm not even good at it. Like, it won't take me any time. Like, I don't.
The first person who posts something like on Twitter and like they're tagging Bungie, hey, look at these little concepts, and they're gorgeous.
Right.
Like,
and there's a lot of artists out there that could put that stuff together. But I have a couple theories on it. And so this is my whack job theory. Okay, so there's 2 theories. Well, 3 theories. One, they're putting all of their workforce into, like, they're going to do Lightfall, and they're going to just say, we're done with Destiny. Thanks. We're going to go do Matter or whatever that is.
You think that that's your theory?
No, well, I've got one of 3 choices.
Ooh,
Choice number 2 is that, and I'm going to give flack for this, but I don't care because I've told my community about this, but Luke Smith is a liar. He is a liar.
That's why I love the man.
He is a liar. And he's like, literally like, we're not going to touch the Exo Stranger story at all. I think that there could potentially be a Destiny 3. Well, there's not going to be a Destiny 3 because he said so. He is a liar. He has said multiple times, there's not going to be an Exo Stranger story. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do it. And it happens. So the potential could be that Lightfall is going to happen, and then there's going to be a Destiny 3. The third thing is that the Activision Bungie split really did hurt them as much as it has, and they really are working on, like, fumes. And if that's the case, then I am worried.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm trying to err on the side of, like they've got something huge coming down the turnpike. But I feel like we waited, like Shadowkeep was marking time in place, and Beyond Light should have been like the fulfillment of we waited for the Activision piece to get done.
Mhm.
You know, we want to see what happens. So
I do
Anyway.
have a couple of theories to like, almost match yours. So like,
Mhm.
yeah, Luke Smith, you know, Extra Stranger, not going to happen. Look who's back. And then No Destiny 3. And here is my crazy theory. I don't know if anyone else thought this, because they are working on another project, you know, Matter.
Mhm.
What if that's Destiny 3?
Right. There was a
What
thing
if-
on. There was a thing about
What if they're like they're slowly rebuilding the game from the ground up, since they're away from Activision now, and they're just they're slowly dripping with this content,
In a different solar
and
system.
then a Lightfall. It's this whole new game, and that they visioned, and they're just hoping that the community sticks around during all this by placing certain things that we know we've been waiting for and enjoying, like bringing, you know, Aldrin Sov and the Extra Stranger, keep feeding us those crumbs to carry us all the way to their next big project.
Right.
That's one theory I have with that. Because I don't know much about what else they're going to plan on doing. Yeah, the Activision thing, I think it hurt them in a way of manpower, obviously, because they had the Activision and the two other studios helping them with the content. Hence why they said they couldn't make Forsaken-like expansions anymore, because they just don't have. Yeah, some people will say, well, just hire more people. Well, it's not as easy as it sounds. You can't just hire more people to build a giant expansion. You know what I'm saying? Because you basically have to reteach them everything, the ins and outs of what you have. So like, I knew, and maybe I just become jaded and just expecting this, but like nothing, like Luke and I discussed this before Beyond Light came out. We weren't really hyped for Beyond Light. We were actually looking more forward to the Witch Queen. Being that King's Fall and Taken King and the story of Oryx and that family is my favorite pieces of lore. So for me, this is going to keep me fed, I guess, until the Witch Queen. And if it's a dud, not say Beyond Light is a dud right now because it's too, you know, early to really judge based on content, but like it's I think it's just, as the community, we're just sick of waiting. Like, just give us something. Like, it seems like we're always, like, as a community, we're always complaining, but it seems like we're always complaining about the same thing, and it bothers us when it doesn't get fixed. And I'm not saying we need to have our way, you know, but like, after a while, you figure, all right, like this is an issue. Like, what can we do to fix this? And we're not saying fix it, and you know, like that, but like show us, because we feel like they're not showing us that they're fixing anything.
I think part of it is just we feel like we've been waiting. Like, the game always seems like it's on the precipice of fulfilling itself.
Yep.
And it never quite does. And I don't know if it ever can be, because it's a live service game. And I think like we're waiting for like there's a new game. I'm using that as a reference, but like a Cyberpunk 2077, like this huge, just like concrete, like this is this game, and it's massive and it's huge and it's all encompassing. And I don't know if they can do that. I don't think they can do. I don't think they can do that unless, if, like I said, you're right, that, or like I was saying before, Matter is some kind of Destiny 3, or I think there was some talk about it on one of the 8chan or whatever channels about it. They actually, there was a conspiracy theory about Matter's actually like 200 years in the future, and like the Traveler's still around and the pyramids are still around, and like we just choose Dark and Light Guardians and we just battle. Like, that was actually a theory that was on there, is like that's actually what it is. It's like hundreds of years in the future, and it's just a continuation of the universe of Destiny.
Because people were wondering why, you know, like Bungie's doing a lot more stuff with Microsoft now. So I like, if again, my theory, if Matter is Destiny 3, I think behind closed doors, Microsoft is helping them with it. I'm not going to say that's going to be an exclusive, because people will riot, but
Yeah,
I think
I think that's
closed doors,
over.
Microsoft Studios is helping them with unconfirmed, so don't take it as gospel, listeners. But I think Microsoft is in some way have their hand in helping them along, and right now we're just dealing with things.
I could see. I was thinking about
Luke,
that the other day.
Your thoughts?
I was thinking about that the other day. Like,
I think you're muted, you Luke.
oh, am I?
I think.
Am I muted now?
Muted. Luke,
how about now?
You are not muted now.
No? Wow.
Luckily, I was only muted to you guys, not this. Anyways, sorry, I wasn't saying anything, but I was saying I've been thinking about that as well lately. Like the idea that I don't remember how whenever Bungie and Microsoft split, I don't remember if that was like a bad relationship kind of deal. But I mean, if I was Bungie in this scenario, if Microsoft for whatever reason is coming to their aid, I would be like, yes, yes, you're a very, very rich company and you care about us, obviously, because they've always supported Bungie ever since the split off. I mean, they even continued Halo. They made a whole studio inside of Microsoft so that could still happen. But that is I like your guys', see, this is the kind of stuff I like. I like to think about what this could be because, like, obviously this is fun what we're playing right now, but I really like to think about 5 years from now because I have no idea what I'm going to play whenever I don't have a game like this to sink thousands of hours into.
Do with your life.
Well, and that's the thing is, I don't feel like there's a game that really scratches that itch like Destiny does. And that's the thing that stinks is it's like this game is so good, but yet it feels like it's missing something. You know what I mean? And that's like it's that scratch you can't itch. And it's like, oh, just like all I want is like just knock it out of the park, nail it, huge expansion, go, go, go. Like all this stuff to do, all these new weapons, but a lot of the stuff is just carrying over. And so it's hard to see, at least with the current trajectory, if we're going to keep Destiny 2 around forever, what we'll do.
Yeah, because there's no other games like it, and let's be honest, there's no other games like it. And when other companies try to make the so-called Destiny killer, we're still waiting for that to happen. I don't want to name all the games, but there's been quite a few that have been dipping their toe in the pool, and they said they look good for the first couple of months, and then they hit almost they don't learn from the mistakes that Destiny continues to show. But the only thing is Destiny seems to try to patch it and fix it right away, whereas these other games, they don't learn from the mistakes, and that's why they're either no more or they're trying to rebuild their game from the ground up. Anthem. And it's just that's what sucks. Like, what are we gonna do? Because what other game's gonna scratch that itch? Because there's no other game like this game. As much as we complain about it, there's no other game like it.
I guess we could all pick up World of Warcraft and just start from the very beginning.
Yeah, I could never get into that game.
I mean, like that's essentially what they wanted to do. They wanted to make a first-person World of Warcraft, and they sold it to Activision like that.
Yeah.
I think it's just crazy that Activision, like, what was it? Forsaken dropped, and like I think that was the big thread because you're talking about like, was it a positive relationship? I just think that between Activision and Bungie, it's crazy to think because all the developers and stuff like that, when Forsaken came out and everyone was talking about rave reviews and stuff like that, and then you read their report from the I think it was the third quarter or the fourth quarter report, and they didn't meet expectations. It's like I mean I don't know what expectations you guys are thinking of because they knocked. Forsaken was the next best thing after Taken King.
Yes,
Forsaken was great
because it didn't make that Call of Duty money.
And I mean, that's the thing is that I think that a lot of people, the bean counters, want to see that Call of Duty money, and they don't understand that like it's not that game. And I think as soon as like they actually realize what that is, I mean, all they wanted to see is they just wanted to see this money makes it into our pocket. This is how much is sold. I think it was a wise move from Bungie to move away from it. I'd like to believe that Microsoft could possibly be helping them, but I don't think they ever want to be under anyone's thumb ever again. No. After everything with Halo.
No, but I think they don't have to be underneath anybody, but I do think they need help. They need to outsource another studio, or maybe Microsoft is that outsource, and obviously not being on the umbrella, but like it doesn't hurt to ask for help. Like, let's be real. Like if they need it, because they can only do so much, and like I said, hiring new people, it's not going to fix the problem right away, because you got to reteach them your tech, your ins and out of your game,
And they're expensive.
They're expensive.
Game designers they got big salaries that they want, at least.
Like, and as much people want to slam, Eververse, and then the microtransactions, I mean, that's basically the bread and butter right now for Bungie, to be honest. Like,
well, and I'm willing to pay for those things as long as I see the results of them. Like, I was willing to pay for Whisper of the Worms ornaments because I knew that there would be a secret mission later on. And then there was 0 hour. I was like, awesome, let's go. And I'm like, if anyone who knows it, like, I love my 0 hour, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But then, like, after that, they're like, okay, there's the ornaments for Outbreak Perfected, and it's going to pay for what? Like, if there's more stuff that comes along with it. The thing that scares me right now is, can you guys tell me what's going to happen in the next seasons? Like, what are we doing in the next seasons? Like, do you have any idea?
I have a couple ideas, and again, that word theory again.
Theory.
Somehow they have to implement Vault of Glass, and in some way to make it for a reason for why it's back, because Venus is not on the directory. So there has to be like, that's my theory. Like that, like it's something's going to happen with time. Like, if Osiris is in the tower and something, and he's Mr. Time Traveler, that there is something to be said about that. So that's what my theory is. I think we're like this is what also bothers me, and it just popped in my head. Like with the season story and the campaign story. Whereas the second episode Luke and I did, we were talking about our thoughts about Beyond Light, and we discussed how we liked the story of Beyond Light, but it didn't feel like a main story campaign. It felt like it was the other way around. It felt like a side story or seasonal content, in a sense. It didn't. Whereas we were hoping, before we know what it is now, of Season of the Hunt, being that we're dealing with the darkness and stuff like that, etc. But now what we know now, like, obviously it doesn't feel like that either. So, like, I know we used to go playing back, when they dropped the DLC expansions of Curse of Osiris and Warmind, and then they moved to the seasonal of 3 months. This is a season, and then we're to drip this content throughout the whole season. Like, it confuses me sometimes. Like, all right, we're doing this story, but we got to go back to this story. Like, but we got to tie up the loose end for this story, but it's all going to lead up to 2 seasons from now, and like, it's just it can be very jarring.
There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of moving parts, and it almost feels like everything kind of leapfrogs over each other. I guess my thing is, as long as there's forward movement in the story, I think you're right. I think that's for Beyond Light, it kind of felt like it was just kind of like a side story, and I think that's the reason why, like, Xivu Arath is kind of a big deal.
It is,
like,
yeah.
Xivu Arath is a big deal. That's like Oryx coming. Like, that should be a big freaking deal. And maybe Xivu Arath and Savathun are both coming together. I don't know how, but like, Xivu Arath is one of the three sisters. There's Oryx, Savathun, and Xivu Arath, and like, Xivu Arath is the warrior, or is like the war god.
Yeah, the war god. Yep.
And so
that's what had me hyped, Mano. That's like, all right, I'm all about the Oryx and the family tree. All right, and I'm like, I'm reading lore after every 5 months.
And it was weird because today I was doing one of my hunts just to get some recon data, because that's actually the fastest way to rank that thing up, is just to do recon data over and over and over.
That's what I did to rank it up.
And then, especially like if you get like a bad roll, it's almost like the lure rolls with certain weapons. So it's like your Deafening Whisper, and then you get armor weapons, blah 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 blah. No one wants the armor. You're just gonna get it from the season pass anyway.
Yep.
I actually fought one of the bigger knights in the Dreaming City, and I was kind of like, oh, I haven't fought him yet, and I thought maybe it would lead to something, and then it didn't. Like, I think that would be the thing that would be nice, is it would be cool if these hunts led to something. Like maybe we go inside the Dreaming City and maybe Zuvu Arath has gotten into the Ascendant Realm or something like that. If like there is a continuation of the Season of the Hunt, I'd be all for it. But right now we don't see that. And I'd like to believe that there's more to come. But right now it's just very minimal.
I feel that this is the first time, I guess every time I don't really know what's going on, but for this time specifically, I feel like all that they have to work with is leading us to the next expansion.
Right.
How they're going to do that with what, 3 more seasons, right? Before the next expansion. I literally have no idea. You're so right. Like I just did that exact same fight where I fought that big knight and I was like, is that the thing that killed Sagira? Is that right. Looks kind of like the same one, but obviously it wasn't. And but that I wouldn't have known because there's no explanation to what's happening other than we got to go to follow the green stuff. Which does the green stuff? I think that there's also going to be new. Do you guys think that there's going to be new? Sorry, this is really off topic, but do you think there's going to be new subclasses in seasons or in expansions? Because like this green stuff makes me feel like the next.
Well, there are. Isn't there like 2 other dark subclasses?
I mean, we would assume since there's 3 light subclasses, I guess maybe that there's
probably going to be more, but I think you have to drive the expansions with those.
Yeah.
So to me, it makes sense if you're going to do a darkness subclass is you do Savathun, you get another darkness subclass somehow using poison or hive energy.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's talking about poison because it's like the most obvious one.
Yeah.
Like
decay. Yeah. It's like the most obvious one. People have been talking about that for years. And then I don't even know what the third one would be. Like I think like negative energy, although void energy sort of like that, like negative or 0 point energy, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
For Lightfall would make sense. But yeah, I mean, the green energy is kind of like the hive energy. It's like what those hive, what would you call them? Detain areas are, you know, when you're in those strikes, and it's the same. It's like that hive energy. To me, that's what that all is.
It's just again, it goes back to we're just waiting for a payoff of some sort. We're just constantly holding hands, waiting for something, and every time reset hits, we're going into reset. We're speculating. Okay, what's going to happen? Is anything going to happen? And it doesn't. Like people are been waiting for Hawkmoon for like ever, and I guess that's probably not coming out till maybe January is the rumor. Like yeah, back to what you were talking about ornaments and like always purchasing the ornaments from the Eververse. Yeah, like I have 6,700 silver sitting on my character for like the last few months, just waiting for Hawkmoon to see the ornaments that they're going to have for it, because I'm going to buy them up because Hawkmoon is my favorite Destiny weapon of all time.
For me, I'm going to do Dawning stuff because I love the Dawning.
Me too.
Yeah.
I always love the armor from the Dawning. I feel like they always do a great job.
Yeah, I mean, I actually skipped last year's Dawning, which I kind of wish I didn't because I always like the ornaments that they have for it. But yeah, I don't know. Like something's got to give.
You gotta feel like there's something for your investment. Like instead of just throwing money at the screen to be like, hey, this is the thing. You know, it'd be nice to be like, yo, this is the thing that we're planning on viewing. But right now it's just weird because we don't know a lot.
No.
And I think it's
that's what bothers us. We don't know much.
If there was a time in Destiny that this reminded me of the most, it's the time after Taking King. Like it was right in between. I remember January to March. It was that area where like we had done the crud out of Taking King, and we'd had September to December, and it was awesome. And then nothing.
Yep.
And we were all kind of like, what is going on? I feel like we're in that moment right now. So hopefully there's more updates. There's more stuff that's coming out right now. I guess the big thing is just try to drive more like social communities and like have fun with the stuff that's around while you can, and farms for some really good weapons.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You can all make it through, right?
Enjoy the stuff you like because it's probably going to get taken away.
I think that I could see Dreaming City and Tangled Shore getting like something happening to them because of Savathun.
We hope.
Because I mean, if Savathun comes, I mean the curse is kind of fulfilled at that point.
Mm-hmm. What if she takes the Dreadnought and wrecks it into the Dreaming City? And then
be
the
dope.
dreadnought is on the Dreaming City.
That would be dope.
And that would be part of the map. I feel like that would be
Should float
insane.
there. I mean,
We need more of those cataclysmic events in the universe, because
Yes.
we're not exactly just like playing marbles here. Like we're like fighting with gods and stuff like that. I think we need to feel that more.
Yes. 100% agree. I want to feel like the world's changing. Like they want it to be an ever-changing world. Like
that would change it.
The day before Beyond Light was the coolest thing I've witnessed in Destiny in a long time. Like that whole event and all the way leading up to like the light beam happened, and I was like, "This is it. We're all dead." And then it was just like the next day. Beyond, they're like, "Guardians, there's a thing on the Europa. Go see it." I'm like, "Oh man, that kind of stinks." I thought something else was gonna happen. Like the darkness took those planets, and I don't know. That was a cool example, like of them almost having it. They just did the next day. It was so anticlimactic.
Almost there.
It was so anticlimactic. Like the game went offline. I was like, "This is awesome." That was such a good way to make the season end.
But alas, again, guys, we're just the waiting game. So we're near the end of our little show here. But a lot to talk about. I wish we could talk more and more, but we'd be here for hours on end.
Yeah, I could talk forever.
Because I love talking Destiny. I like listening to other people's input and their opinions on such things. And again, thank you, Mano, for being our first and sitting down and discussing the way you tick and how the way you think things should be or could be. So again, we thank you, as always, for coming on. For this time, feel free to promote anything from your YouTube to your Twitch, the things you do, what people can expect from you. Anything, the floor is yours. Go all out. We'll listen.
Sure. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I really do appreciate it. Like you, I love talking Destiny. I love this game. Loved it ever since I've been playing it. You can find me down at twitch.tv/ManoDestra777 that bearded Luke lovely put together right down underneath here. Also my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ManoDestra777. We have a great Discord full of, I think we're getting to the point now where we're about 4,000 people in our Discord. We've got a couple of clans going on right now. We would like to get more. So if you're interested, join, because we have a really positive, awesome community. Yeah, just looking forward to making more Destiny content, more original stuff, not just Ascendant Challenge videos. And possibly doing something like this, either a podcast or something on Twitch, which is like a live show of some sort, where I'm looking at that direction, at doing something like that. So stay tuned.
Wow. I'll definitely look into all that stuff. I got to join the Discord.
I forgot to tell you, 7's my favorite number, so I've always appreciated that about you.
Yeah. Can you explain the 777?
It doesn't fail. Like everyone's like, "What the heck does your name mean?" Okay, all right. So here's here's the story of the name, and I got to tell you, I get this from so many people because it's technically an Italian name.
Bonus content.
It's bonus content. All right. So the source of my name is, back when I got an Xbox 360, I needed to have a gamer tag, right? I'm a musician. So I put in my first initials into Google. I just literally put music MD, ManoDestra. It means the right hand. I'm like, dude, that's so cool. That's so cool. That's the right hand, but it sounds kind of cool. It's my real life initials, right? So the problem is that someone had ManoDestra777 or ManoDestra already. So they said, you need to put numbers on it. I'm like, well, that's kind of stupid. Well, I better find out numbers. So at the time, I was watching a great movie that you probably watched called Hot Fuzz. Yep. And Nicholas Angel is the cop in that. And if you actually do the research, his cop number is 777, because it's supposed to be like his name is Nicholas Angel, right? So I was just like, well, that's kind of cool. It's 777, ManoDestra777. Okay. And this was years before I was like going to stream or do anything. Like I had no idea what streaming even was. I was playing COD. And what did we play? Phantasy Star Online. We played some of that stuff back on like Xbox 360 back when I was like in college and stuff like that. That's it. And then it just kind of came. So I get people who constantly ask, because ManoDestra, it's like an Italian term for the right hand. So I get a lot of people like, "Oh, do say Italiano," and I'm like, I'm American.
I'm American.
And so
you really love Bungie because they love sevens. So.
Right. And so everyone's like, that's the reason you have the sevens in your name, right? Nope. It has to do with Hot Fuzz and Nicholas Angel and the sevens in it. It's like one of the fun trivia parts about that. I've actually considered just making my name Mano. You like Dado or Glad, just like simple names.
Mano.
Right now, someone has the name on Twitch, and I mean, it's a cool name. It works. I may drop the numbers at some point. We'll see.
You could just be Manod. Just kidding.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been trying to contact the person who has my emote, like just Mano, because right now that's what my emote prefix is.
Yeah.
MANOD, and it's the weirdest thing in the world. Manode.
Oh man.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, we're so happy you're here. Honestly, that's how this is why we do this. We love, like, regardless of where Destiny's at, we appreciate the community and being able to have friends that care enough about it that we can literally sit here on a Sunday night and talk about it on the internet and have 30 something people here watching. I'm appreciative, and I appreciate you guys being here.
A bunch of guys with beards just talking.
Yeah, exactly. And Mano has beautiful hair, so it makes it even better.
The only reason I have that is I showered right before.
There you go.
Good. So, Havoc, if you want to, tell people your
let's
things.
close this out here. Again, thank you to the listeners for listening, obviously. If you're watching the live portion, and thank you for coming in and watching. If you happen to miss the live portion, the VOD will be over on our YouTube. If you are on the go and you like listening to podcasts, the audio portion will be uploaded by Mr. Luke at the end of the night, every Sunday night, to Anchor, which distributes it to Spotify, Google Music, Amazon Music, etc., whatever your preferred podcast platform you prefer. Definitely check it out, or you could just type in the Destiny Nerds. We pop up. Believe me, I've done it. We pop up. It's awesome. It brings a smile to my face when I do it and search. So again, thank you for everyone who came out. Always appreciated. We'll see you next time. Hopefully, #blame Luke. And we'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see you next Sunday. Bye.